Deshaun Watson found in violation of the NFL personal conduct policy over sexual misconduct. He was found guilty in the NFL's kangaroo court. But that sounds very troublesome for Deshaun Watson to be found guilty of that. But wait till you hear the punishment. Deshaun was suspended for 6 games. That's it. 6 games without pay, which is misleading. He was not fined millions of dollars for his tawdry behavior. And so now what happens? Glad you asked. It's up to the NFL to decide whether they would like to challenge the ruling. Each side has until Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern time to file a written appeal to that ruling. And so the union has said they will not. Why would they? They got away with it. So the league now has to decide what they want to do, as they are the butt of many jokes. Everyone goofing on the National Football League, and rightfully so, as yet again, under the watch of Roger Goodell, they have totally effed all of this up. But they have a chance to clean it up. It's not over yet, so let us discuss the question. Kind of an obvious one. Should the NFL appeal Deshaun Watson's suspension? And the response to that is, does a bee make honey? Does a bee sting? I think we know the answer to that. So I've got cartwheels, hobgoblins, and ancient Egyptian. And we'll tie all of these things together, and we are going to make a wanna get away moment, which is what the NFL has right now. So, this entire episode is a deep bruise on the shield of the NFL. Not to be overly dramatic, but in a statement, the NFL did announce that they are, quote, reviewing the Deshaun Watson suspension, and they will then determine the next steps. It's very straightforward here. It would be, the word is bonkers. Bonkers if the NFL does not appeal this, and the issue is now given proper punishment, because this is not proper punishment. Deshaun Watson, again, was found guilty by the former federal judge Robinson and given punishment that is equivalent to a night without video games. It's pretty much it. So, way to show who's the boss, right? I'm the boss. Now, Watson, for now anyway, has proven to be some kind of criminal genius. And he was, for over a year, driving around in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile around the greater Houston area. Unsolicited, he was offering free samples of the Frank and Beans to all of the amateur massage therapists that responded to his Instagram offerings. And because it was a he said, she said situation, with limited physical evidence mixed with lots of money to clean up the mess, those with the money get the justice, and Watson's got the money. And so I think around 9 a.m. in the morning Monday, if you close your eyes and that little cartoon bubble over your head, you could see him doing cartwheels down the interstate, right there in the middle of the interstate, as he was happy, as he escaped the booby trap, literally and figuratively, the booby trap. He escaped it. The punishment, a playful slap on the buttocks, which, based on what I've read here, Deshaun does enjoy that as part of the nice massage. No criminal charges, no fine, no real punishment. And at this point in the story, he ends up somehow making money from doing all of this as a direct result of this. Yeah, he'll miss 6 games. Whoop-de-damn-do for Deshaun Watson. That, if you do the math on that, that's 1 game for every 6 women who accused him of being a pervert. And the NFL said, you're guilty of this, but 1 game for every 6 women. He should have done more massages. I bet you Deshaun deep down is like, man, I wish I had gotten more of these massages. This was great. He was having the time of his life, and he only got 1 game for every 6 women. Now, if you're into numerical signs, there is a sign here. Now, human beings, it's called patternicity. People like to create patterns out of things where there are no patterns, or symbols where there are no symbols. But if you're into that kind of thing, and most of us are, Deshaun Watson's fine is $333,333. That is half the sign of the devil. So, yeah, double that. That's the sign of the devil there. So Watson paid his way out of more trouble. This is what rich people do. This is the American way. Deshaun Watson showing yet again that the justice system is for those that have the money. And this is a case of not even the justice system, really. It's the NFL form of justice. But he has said repeatedly he did nothing wrong. He said repeatedly he was not going to settle these cases. He ended up, I assume, using some kind of Venmo to put cash into the bank accounts of 23 of the 24 women who made claims against him. So pop goes the weasel. Now, part B of this. Who looks worse, the Browns organization or the Browns fans? So they're really carbon copies. There's a slight lean, though, to Cleveland's management. What scumbags, right? If you're looking for the bad guys, we've got the bad guys in football. They're in Cleveland. Enablers who helped clear the runway for a smooth landing. In the middle of all this, the Cleveland football team traded for Deshaun Watson as it was raining down poop. And then they gave him the record-breaking contract, $230 million guaranteed, unprecedented. It's what's known as rewarding bad behavior. That's what the Browns did. Nobody can debate that. It's obvious. It's very straightforward. And they constructed a contract that helped avoid any kind of real financial liability. Absolutely deplorable, absolutely despicable. That's Jimmy Haslam. You might want to look up the Flying J lawsuit from years ago, and you can see how he's been able to use his money and his power to get out of some trouble as well, and how certain other people were tossed under the bus. But hey, listen, it's the rich and the powerful, the scoundrels. And as far as the Browns' die-hard base of supporters, equally redonkulous. Now, not all, but a hardy, boisterous group. As many of these people hiding out, bunkered on social media, we had an infestation of these hobgoblins, the Mamalukes, who are a disgrace and an embarrassment to making all of us sports fans look bad. It's things like this that the people that don't have the sports gene, that don't know the love of sport like we know, they look at these losers, these Neanderthals, and they put us all in that category because of activity like those who backed Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. The same people, by the way, the same Browns fans who had no problem goofing on Ben Roethlisberger, who in comparison was a lightweight. There are only a couple women accusing Roethlisberger of bad activity. Watson had the all-22 and then a couple more tossed on top of that, just for good measure. And these people, the same people that thought Ben Roethlisberger was the absolute devil incarnate, are convinced that Deshaun Watson is Mother Teresa who just enjoys a nice kinky massage fetish from time to time. And these cyber warriors running around spreading red herrings and misinformation about Watson, attempting some what we call gaslighting to attempt to manipulate the mind, claiming the opposite happened. Spoiler alert! By the way, Judge Robinson, again, she wrote in her decision, we'll get more into this later, but she wrote that although this is the most significant punishment ever imposed on an NFL player for allegations of nonviolent sexual conduct, Mr. Watson's pattern of conduct is more egregious than any before reviewed by the NFL. But he got 6 games. So the judge is like, yeah. You talk about talking out of both sides of your mouth. Yeah, this is the worst thing we've ever seen in the NFL, but I'll give you 6 games. The judge furthermore ruled that Watson is now, this is my favorite part, he's forbidden from arranging the private touchy-feely massages. He can only get that from the Cleveland Browns organization, from an NFL club. So the Browns are now going to have to go on Instagram, and they're going to have to find some massage therapists to give him the old rub and tug, right? Because that's what Deshaun wants. So as long as the team hires these massage therapists, we're good to go. Deshaun also can have no adverse involvement with law enforcement and must not commit any additional violations. Okay, so hey, this is a great business, the NFL. So 24 inappropriate acts, and Judge Robinson, that's where we draw the line. Okay, now 24, but any more than that, and you're going to be in trouble. It's good to know that she has standards. That's a former federal judge. All right, now, last word here. Does Deshaun Watson ever get past this scandal? Now, I do not want to be a prisoner of the moment because time has a way of pushing things in the back burner. And that there are little kids right now who don't even know who Deshaun Watson is, that 20 years from now will grow up and say, oh, that's an old story. And they'll call whatever the generation who's spreading that, they'll call them boomers or whatever the term is at the time there. That's just the circle of life. But I am shaking my head no, that Watson will not get past this, that forever he is a lowlife in football circles. He's an enemy combatant. He's the bad guy. And does it really matter to him? I would say yes to a point. $230 million is great, but you want to be loved. It's human nature. And Watson carried himself like God's gift to football and all that prior to all of this. And, of course, that's out the window. And Watson living the old double life there. He was the Eagle Scout at Clemson, turned into the menacing figure with the Texans, and now he's with the Browns. And it's kind of like that ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, right? That Watson has been branded for the rest of his playing days with those hieroglyphics. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is the low-level Batman villain, maybe even higher than that, supervillain of the NFL. And it is a good thing in the end because we will all be able to unite. All 31 other fan bases can root against this guy. And we know going in, the Cleveland Browns will not win anything. They won't win diddly squat with Deshaun Watson. So they pay the guy $230. They got a guy that everyone thinks is a pervert, and that's their quarterback, and they're not going to win anything. Every man, woman, and child can unite in unison and dance on the grave of the Cleveland Brown franchise for years to come. So we have that to look forward to. And that's not a bad consolation prize for those of us that just merely observe these games. I don't work for the NFL, neither do you. We're just merely observers of all this.